Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Interviews with Strangers. We're here today with Dusty Meadows, aspiring writer, public speaker, and current student of psychology. How are you today, Dusty?
I'm doing fantastic. I've really been looking forward to this, Cody. Thank you for the invite. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you being gracious enough to come on and share your brilliant story. So why don't we just get right down to it? Why don't we start off with 2009?
Yeah,
2009.
very big life changing event. Well, I guess it should have been more of a life changing event than what it was. But at the time, I was very much a using addict and was not a rational human being. After cocaine and booze fueled evening at a Christmas party, someone had the idea to go to the bar, and I remember getting to the bar and seeing the bartender that I knew well. But after that, I don't remember anything. But as the story goes, I spilt a beer on a black lady, and
Who has
there was an exchange there, and it got really ugly, and I not only dropped the C bomb, but I ended up dropping the N bomb, and I started a riot in the bar. And when I started laying down memory was when I was being booked in jail and looking down at that paper. So I was being charged with a hate crime.
with a hate crime? That's an incredible thing, Dusty.
Absolutely horrible. The negativity that event perpetuated. It's just to this day, it just really overwhelms me. It was, not only in the Denver newspaper, but all three of the network news stations in Denver, and I found online where it had hit newspapers from Seattle to Boston.
Wow.
Uh, I pled guilty to a lesser charge of racial bias and misdemeanor assault, and was sentenced to 60 days in jail, to which I was in the trustee pod to get good behavior, and I served only 34 days of that, which that experience left me incredibly cynical and pessimistic. I was I was so angry when I got out of jail, and it unfortunately took another 7 years of trying to manage that lifestyle and that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde personality. I knew that Mr. Hyde was going to come out at some point. I didn't know when or how bad it was. And unfortunately, I didn't give my wife too many opportunities, but to get as far away from me as she could before something really bad happened. There at the end of my using, was a month or so after my first round of surgeries for my hands. I developed peripheral neuropathy after a career in construction, and the same amount of time, if not longer, chasing outdoor adventures and extreme sports. So I had a lot of head bonks, and then all the machinery. It's all taken its toll, and that first round of surgery on my hand it didn't fix the problem.
Didn't fix it.
It didn't, and that was really the nail in my coffin, the coffin, so to speak. Once I lost that, I snapped. I was piling my Percocets on top of whiskey and cocaine in hopes that I wouldn't wake up the next day. was even one point that several. I had several different pharmaceuticals at my disposal, and multiple overdoses. I lined them all up one morning and tried to drink up the courage with a bottle of Jaeger to try to.
Not unlike most people. If you could just kind of raise your voice just a tad bit.
Sure. Yeah, after at that point it was just the hands, the misery, the self-loathing. I know two very very important Christian concepts now. The whole hell, and I'm sure as you have experienced too, being locked up in your own brain and despising every part of yourself reaches everyone's definition of hell across cultures.
Absolutely.
And all of that. And it took the culmination of the split, the disability, to get me to finally realize that my life needed to change. And when all this took place, I ran down to Santa Fe with a dear friend of mine who was in recovery as well. And it only took a couple days for me to realize what a real mess I was and what was really going on.
Wow.
I was convinced at the time that it was my wife that was trying to kill me, but after a few days I realized it was me and the booze and drugs.
Yeah, it all became clear. Wow.
So that move and that initial 3 weeks, just incredible. One of the most physically and emotional painful times of my life. And I did it on my buddy's couch without going to a facility, and I've learned that the detox and the rehab facilities are big fans of pharmaceuticals. And something my buddy kept reiterating to me was that I know this is incredibly painful right now, but if you can learn to do this without any kind of crutch, anything emotional, then you're going to be better for it on the other side.
Now that you're looking back at it, do you feel like that was the right decision?
I do. I do wholeheartedly. I've been invited to share my story in some detox centers, and there are a handful of people that refuse the medication, but everyone else they were zombies. They were so heavily medicated that they didn't have a real sense of what was going on with them and the rest of the world. So it wasn't amazingly difficult, but I do wholeheartedly believe that has contributed to the success that I've found in recovery.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Another aspect of that early recovery was finding the job at the Santa Fe Ski Company, teaching kids ski school.
Ski company in Santa Fe. Wow, I was completely unaware of skiing in Santa Fe.
Yeah,
it shows what I know.
Amazing, just a absolutely beautiful place. It's a smaller little resort and still privately owned. So it was a really laid back atmosphere. The people that I worked for were absolutely wonderful, and the kids that I worked with, most of my coworkers were from the age of 16 to 24, and then I taught kids from the ages of 3 to 11, and it was exactly what I needed when I needed it. The nurturing and what they gave back to me was certainly something special that I'll take with me for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Truly amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is truly amazing.
Luckily, with that job, I was just really just using my hands to pick kids up off the snow. I was on my feet either hiking up and down the bunny hill or skiing with the kids out on the mountain. So it worked really well. There were certain things that for the setup and tear down of our area that I wasn't able to participate in. But like I said, the people that I worked for were absolutely wonderful.
How fortunate.
Yeah, and I've been so blessed in this journey that there's an incredible collection of just beautiful people in my life that have really kind of picked me up and put me on their shoulders and have really brought me to the point I am today. I couldn't imagine where I would have ended up if I hadn't had this incredible group of people. And it started with the in the rooms of AA. That was my first introduction to the recovery community, and they are, as a group, the most compassionate and honest people I've ever been around, and it's inspiring. It really is. And to see the other people that have been through exactly what I've been through. The details are always just a little bit different, but our stories are so much the same.
Yeah.
To see how they have used that to better their life was what really got me moving in the direction that I'm in.
That's fantastic. That is so fantastic. And I know that AA and as well as NA has helped untold thousands, if not millions of people, and I'm glad that they could assist you as well.
It really gave me that start. I knew right from the beginning that it wasn't a good idea to move back home for early detox and early recovery, because there was just so much raw emotion for the first time in a long time. I'd been numbing everything out. That it was, the light switches were coming on, and that light was bright and painful. So I knew that my family and friends back here were just a little too close. So I needed something a little bit differently to begin with. But as it turns out, I got moved back home. With my hands after the season at the ski resort, my hands started to get worse again, and I couldn't provide for myself. So I had to move back home and move back to the farm with my parents after 25 years.
Wow.
That in itself has proved to be a fun and fascinating social psychology experiment all on its own.
Absolutely, and I'm personally glad that it did, or I would have never had the pleasure of meeting you.
It was a difficult transition. I love the mountains and the West so much. I become involved with everything outdoors. If it's human powered and outdoors, I have gear for it. But the loss of the hands and all of that, I needed to redefine myself and let go of the identity that I had associated with my hands and grab onto the identity of the person that I am, the person I'm becoming. I mean, it's certainly an ongoing process there.
Where did that journey lead you?
Once I got back here, I started the process again of trying to diagnose and figure out what was going on with my hands, and I qualified for the same round of surgery again, and they added my elbows this time, and it helped for a short time, but it didn't fix the problem. So it was time to do something different, and I didn't feel I had too many other options other than to go back to school.
Wow, back to school, huh?
Back to school once again after almost 25 years.
Yeah, you could find that to be a tad bit intimidating.
once again, I ran into some just wonderful people that my professors, the staff, the faculty there, the staff. It's just amazing that I have been able to go in and talk to these people openly and honestly, and they really want me to succeed and have done everything that they can to really help me along the way.
What a blessing.
It is overwhelming, absolutely overwhelming experience. It really has.
That's fantastic. So what are some of your future plans and some of your dreams? You're still studying.
Yeah, it's the what's next. I've been continually saying yes to opportunity, and it's mind numbing how fast